another one from CNA. And of course, this is in reference to the German bishops answering the question, are they going to continue in dissent? Again, from Catholic News Agency, they just put this out yesterday, in fact. Despite no from Vatican, German bishops move forward with plans for synodal council. So basically, the Vatican is saying, no, don't move forward with your German synodal council. They're saying, yeah, we're going to continue to move forward. And what you're going to see here is kind of a history of Rome opposing them on this issue. And Germany effectively saying, no, we're going to keep at it. Effectively, this is going to test Pope Francis's resolve. And it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds and what he does as far as discipline. It would be pretty tough to replace an entire Episcopal conference, but I don't know. It may come to that. Despite repeated warnings from the Vatican, a letter by the president of the German Bishops' Conference published Wednesday confirms that plans for a German synodal council are progressing. In the letter dated February 23rd and published March 1st, yesterday, Bishop George Batzing writes that the German bishops take the Vatican's concerns about a German synodal council seriously. So they're saying, hey, we're taking the Vatican's concerns seriously, but we're going to move forward. The message is addressed to Secretary of State Cardinal Pietro Parolin and to the prefects of the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, Jesuit Cardinal Luis Ladaria, and the Dicastery of Bishops, Cardinal Mark Uye. The German bishop tells the cardinals a German synodal committee would prepare a synodal council over 3 years. This move, Batzing writes, is a sign that there is still a great need for clarification regarding future synodal cooperation. It continues. In a 4-page letter in January, the Vatican wrote that neither the synodal way, nor a body appointed by it, nor a bishops' conference have the competence to establish the synodal council at the diocesan, national, or parish level. So on all levels, effectively. So there's kind of no way out of that, right? You can't set this council up on a national level, on the local diocesan level, or even just the parish level. That covers pretty much all bases. Batzing's response says that the German side now wants to delve into the theological issues raised by Rome. Therefore, I ask for your understanding if I do not address individual aspects of your remarks in this letter, but gladly and gratefully take up the offer of conversation you have proposed. Is it really a conversation? Is that really what it is? Or is the Vatican saying, no, this is a little bit more than a conversation. We're telling you what you can and can't do. The conversation, Batzing asks, should continue in Rome as soon as possible, but after the final meeting of the German Synodal Way in Frankfurt. The German bishops are meeting this week in the East German town of Dresden for their plenary assembly. At the outset of this meeting, the papal nuncio to Germany, Archbishop Terovic, said that he had been commissioned ex officio to specify that according to a correct interpretation of the content of this letter, not even a diocesan bishop can establish a synodal council at the diocesan or parish level. So even just a local bishop cannot set up this kind of synod at basically the diocesan level, which is his territory, or even the parish level, which also includes his territory, but is more localized, obviously, to a parish. The nuncio also stated, CNA Deutsch reported that synodality did not mean creating new institutions with the risk of a further increase in bureaucracy. So again, the concern here is that there's going to be a new institution, effectively, of church government. And they do not have that authority, as the Vatican has said. Instead, he warned the German bishops what is needed is to revitalize the already existing diocesan bodies in a synodal spirit. That's kind of the goal. Take the structure that we already have and, yes, foster synodality there. But that doesn't mean create a new synodal council or ecclesial institution. Synodality was more a question of spirit and style than of structure, he said. Pope Francis and other church leaders have expressed serious concerns about plans to create a permanent synodal council for the German church, to say the least. Such a body would function as a consultative and decision-making body on essential developments in the church and society according to a synodal way proposal. More importantly, it would make fundamental decisions of supradiocesan significance on pastoral planning, questions of the future, and budgetary matters of the church that are not decided at the diocesan level. In response to warnings from Rome about taking such a step, Batzing in January already suggested he would pursue a fallback option. We in Germany are looking for a way of truly deliberating and deciding together without overriding the canonical regulations that affect the authority of the bishop. So we want to have this synod council, but not in a way that overrides the local bishop, the German prelate said. As to the objections raised at the meetings in the Vatican and confirmed in a letter approved by Pope Francis, Batzing in January repeated his public dismissal of these concerns and vowed the synodal way would continue pursuing its controversial agenda in the face of them. Not a good sign. When Rome is saying don't move forward and they're moving forward, not a good sign. And again, that is going to test the resolve of Pope Francis ultimately. And it's going to be interesting to see what he does. The bishops of Cologne, Regensburg, Passau, Eichstätt, and Augsburg wrote to the Vatican on December 21st, 2022. They raised what Batzing acknowledged were justified and necessary questions, particularly whether bishops could be compelled to abide by such a council's authority. So are bishops really bound to accept anything that they decide? This was not the case, the Vatican's letter said. The message written in German reminded Batzing that according to Lumen Gentium, the Second Vatican Council teaches, quote, that episcopal consecration together with the office of sanctifying also confers the office of teaching and of governing, which, however, of its very nature, can be exercised only in hierarchical communion with the head and the members of the college. So the role of the bishop has to be in communion and in coordination with the Pope and the rest of the bishops. Running to 4 pages, the latest Vatican letter to Germany said it was approved by Pope Francis. It was signed by the Vatican Secretary of State, Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the prefect of the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, Cardinal Luis Laderia, and the former prefect of the Dicastery for Bishops, Cardinal Mark Huillet. Warning of a threat of a new schism from Germany, the Vatican already intervened in July 2022 against a German synodal way, as y'all recall. In fact, I covered that before. That's where the article cuts off. It's interesting. It says story continues below, but I don't see it continuing below. But you kind of get the gist of what's going on. They're effectively saying, no, we're going to continue with the synodal council, the synodal German way, and against the directives of Rome. And as I said, Pope Francis is going to have to either turn a blind eye or do something about it. So far, the Vatican hasn't turned a blind eye. It has been saying, nope, you can't do this. Oh, you guys are talking about approving this stuff over here? Nope, can't do that. CDF comes out with a document saying, nope, under no circumstances can you have, for instance, blessings of same-sex unions. So the Vatican has been intervening, but it's obvious that this hasn't been sufficient. So looks like things are going to have to become a little bit more strict, right? It looks like the Holy Father is going to have to bring out the big guns at this point.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button. God bless.